Detroit Den 313, Detroit Lions fans. We're back with another one. Before we get started, you know what to do. Continue what you've been doing. Blasting that subscribe button. Steve put out a challenge, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, trying to get us to 8,000. We have achieved it. So big things are happening after we take these Minnesota Vikings to belt to ass. Steve's got a Brian Branch jersey he's putting up. He's got $100 Fanatic gift card. I got a Panay Sewell jersey I'm throwing up, guys. Also in $100 gift card, and I also got one. I keep saying that I'm going to do it, and I haven't. I got one more Jahmyr Gibbs here, bobblehead that I'll throw in too. So that will be five. That'll be five opportunities to win something the Monday after the Minnesota Vikings game. One to two things you got to do. You got to be subscribed, and if you're a member, then that will give you an even extra opportunity. So, Steve, which one was it? Was it the members got the opportunity to get the gift card, and
Yep.
then every subscriber got an opportunity to get a jersey? And I'll make sure the bobblehead is for subscribers too. So, subscribers, you'll have the bobblehead. And you'll have the jerseys. It'll be only members for the $100 gift cards, but members, obviously, you will be able to get both. You'll be in both
All three.
brackets. So, yeah. So, guys, make sure you're hitting that button. Steve, getting into it today, we almost had a catastrophic event. Steve almost didn't have his lucky hoodie on. I had to shut down the show before we started. Man, what are we doing here?
This thing's got
on.
this thing's seasoned. All right, this is the hoodie that's going to go to the Super Bowl. Okay, we've only lost one game while I've had this hoodie, and I've worn it every game day episode. We only lost the Buffalo Bills one. I'll blame that on us not being able to be in attendance at Ford Field for that Buffalo game. We were still in Florida, so that's technically my wife's fault if we have to be honest, because I wanted to be there. She had the audacity. Yeah, she had the audacity and the nerve to schedule a vacation in the middle of football season, like crunch time, December football. Like it's been talked about in the Perkins household what the standard's going to be going forward. And vacations will happen in the summer, spring, late winter, no more December during football season. That's just the way the Perkins household is going to be ran from now on.
Did you let Sarah know that's how it's going to be?
No, I have not. It will be news to her, and then she'll probably take belt to ass on me if I'm being honest. So.
Hey guys, if you see Steve looking a little bit different next episode, you'll know why. But getting into the business, Steve, we got a game day episode to do here. Where you want to go first, man? What are you thinking as far as Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions, probably the biggest regular season game, maybe ever, but if not ever in a long time. It decides everything, the path that we're going to be going on, the trajectory, how easy this Super Bowl run is going to be. So what's on your mind first when it comes to this game?
I think this is the biggest regular season matchup, honestly, of all time. Like, it's week 18. I've seen playoff berths on the line, like wild card spots, the division being clinched. To my knowledge, if anyone has any more information, I've never seen week 18 come down to a number one seed. Okay, that's what's on the line here. I've never seen two teams who are 14-2 in the same division, who haven't clinched a division, who haven't clinched a number one seed. This is the biggest game of the century so far. All right. And I'm not trying to talk it into something that it's not, but find me a time where it's week 18 and we don't know who's the division winner with 14 wins. We don't know who's going to be getting the bye week next week. It's all going to be settled Sunday. And listen, the Minnesota Vikings are a hell of a football team. I know we're a Detroit Lions podcast and we talk Detroit Lions. That's what we do here. But you don't accidentally go 14-2 in the NFL. Okay. You don't just show up and get lucky and win football games in this league. The Vikings are a good team. I don't like it when people call them frauds or fake. Like, you don't accidentally win 14 games. Okay. And same thing can be said about the Lions. With all of our injuries, we won this many games because we're a damn good football team. We have depth. We have playmakers at a lot of different levels. It's the same thing about the Vikings. So we have a lot of Vikings fans who follow our channel for God knows for whatever reason. And they take what we say and then we kind of twist it. But this is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be an emotional game. It's going to be an energetic game, William. I don't even know how to feel. I've put out the challenge that I want it to feel like that Rams game from last year. All right. That's the top of the standard for me. When I'm talking home football games, it's that Rams game. I need this Vikings crowd for this team to be absolute fucking animals from kickoff to end of whistle. I need 130 decibels. Like I need to feel my teeth chattering in my mouth from how loud it is, William. I'm just going to start it there.
Yeah, I want it to not be a safe place for Minnesota Vikings fans. And obviously, I don't want anybody to get hurt. Let's not be ridiculous, but I want you to feel uncomfortable. I want a little bit of light razzing as you're coming to your seats. If you're one of the 1, 2, or 3 people from Minnesota that make it into Ford Field, because it shouldn't be many. If guys have been holding true and gals have been holding true to what we've asked of them, is to make sure that you sell your tickets if you do to Detroit Lions fans. Now, again, I'll say it again. My tickets are up, guys. If they're not, I'm not asking much to keep me out of the building. Just $5,000 a seat, but it won't go to a Minnesota Vikings fan. Like,
Well, if
they
that's a
got me
suburb, you
tinkering.
don't know that.
It's not. It's not. It's an NFL exchange. But hey, listen. Bottom line is this, man. I want it to be an uncomfortable space, man. I want it to be off in good fun. But I want to be poking and prodding and making those Minnesota Vikings fans feel uncomfortable. I want more importantly, the team to be out on the field feeling uncomfortable, unable to hear, unable to think, unable to process. I want hand signals. I want lip reading. There should be no verbal communication at Ford Field this Sunday night, man, on prime time. What better way to do it? And just like you said, I gotta agree, Steve. Minnesota Vikings, hell of a football team. And the thing that worries me most about them, to be honest, is that defense, man. The way that they can get to the passer, man. Um, because I've been saying it, our 12th defender is our offense, right? And what I mean by that is our offense has to play damn near perfect football. They need to be getting points damn near every time they get the football, because we don't know exactly what we're going to get from this defense. Now, I do think that we're going to get stops and we're going to get takeaways, but we don't know when that's going to happen. Is it going to be in the first quarter? Is it going to be in the fourth? We have a team that's going to be getting after the football. We're going to be ball hawking. We're going to be punching at it, but we don't know when that takeaway, when that sudden change is going to happen, man. So this offense has to play dang near perfect football. Is that something that you agree with, Steve?
Close to perfect. It's hard to do what we've been doing without, Jack Fox highlights have been on holding field goal and extra point attempts. So that's tough. We need to really, we need to be at the top of our game. It's going to be hard to do what we did last week, where we just run up and down the field. Nobody's stopping us. It's hard, and it's fun to think about. But realistically, the odds say that you're going to have to kick the ball away a couple times, okay, especially against the Minnesota Vikings defense. So what I'm interested in is our defense, okay? Going back to October 20th when we last played the Vikings, I'm looking just at the stat sheet and the box score. Like I see we have 4 sacks. That's great. That's phenomenal. I'm looking at where those 4 sacks came from. Okay, we had 1 from Malcolm Rodriguez. He's not on the team right now. He's hurt. 1 from Jack Campbell. 1 from Trevor Nowaski. 1 from Josh Pascal. When we last played them, Aiden Hutchinson was hurt. He didn't play in that game. I know we still had Ali McNeil. He's not playing anymore either. But we also didn't have a guy by the name of Zadarius Smith. So if we can manage 4 sacks and maybe 2 turnovers at timely times.
We'll take it. We'll take
timely
it.
times. That's all I'm asking for is get me 4 sacks, get me 2 interceptions or 2 fumbles, 2 turnovers. I think that's going to be the key, is keeping their offense on the sideline. Okay. If this Detroit Lions offense, and as much as people are predicting a shootout, maybe that's the way the game goes. Maybe it doesn't. But if I'm Ben Johnson, what I'm trying to do is go on long, sustained drives. All right. I want Sam Darnold sitting on that sideline, thinking about how rowdy this crowd's going to be. If we can score some points, get a 3-and-out early, and maybe get a big lead, I'm still not going to feel comfortable. The Lions could go up 21-0 in this game. The Vikings have the offense to come back. We have to keep applying pressure, keep scoring, keep putting Sam Darnold in uncomfortable positions, make them one-dimensional. If we can do that, I think we're good. And Aaron Jones is kind of like an X factor for them, I feel like. He's a good running back. I don't think he's nearly on the same level as Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's had a great season. He's finally stayed healthy for a change, other than when he was in Green Bay, he was kind of having the boo-boo bug quite often. But I think, man, if we could just force some sacks, force some turnovers. The personnel that I just told you that had sacks wasn't Aiden Hutchinson, wasn't Aleem McNeil. We're getting pressure on this team from other aspects. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, is who's getting pressure, Is it in the first quarter, like you said? Is it in the fourth quarter? Is it going to be early in the game where they're under the pressure, or is it going to be in the fourth quarter where we're kind of sealing the deal? Like, I don't know, William. How you feeling?
So, man, honestly, I'm just feeling like it'll be making big plays and big moments. That's going to be the bottom line. But I can't talk about the Minnesota Vikings offense without talking about Justin Jefferson. I mean, I got to get a dude his flowers. The dude's a hell of a football player. Some say the best receiver in the league. I don't necessarily say the best receiver in the league. I probably say the best receiver on the planet. So let's not even mess around. Let's not even mess around. Dude's a dog, you know.
I was going to say the only person you make an argument for would probably be Jamar Chase right now.
Yeah. Like Jamar Chase has a case, but man, here I got to go with Jay Jets, man. And he's gonna make his plays, man. He's gonna have some plays here and there, man. A guy like that he's gonna have his moments. But Steve, do you think that he can take over the football game? Do you think that he can, will them to a win by himself?
I think that's how their offense was kind of designed. Not this year, but in the past. I think it was, hey, get the ball to Justin Jefferson. He's got to have 15 to 18 targets. I don't think their offense is the same anymore. They have a better quarterback than what they've had in the past. They had Nate Mullins, Kirk Cousins. I think Sam Darnold, he's a question mark, man. I don't know. I'm not a Vikings fan, obviously, but I don't know if Sam Darnold's the quarterback of my team for the next 8 years if I'm the Minnesota Vikings. Right? They got some questions about what's going on with JJ. So I think that's the way their team was built in the past. Get the ball to Jefferson no matter what. They got some other pieces now. When we played them, they didn't have TJ Hawkinson back in October. He was still on the IR. Jordan Addison's taken a nice step. I know they lost their tackle Darisaw, and then they traded for I can't think of his name. The left tackle they traded for from Jacksonville, I believe. I just can't draw a blank on his name. So Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the NFL, in the planet, the best guy with hands. But does he take over a game? I haven't seen him really do that this season. I've seen him do it in the past, but in 2024, I don't think their offense is really designed that way anymore.
Yeah, I think that, it doesn't matter to me, to be honest. I just think that the bottom line is, even if Justin Jefferson has a phenomenal game, he has 10 catches and 150, 160, we can still win a football game. It was been talked about the phenomenal games that he's had at Detroit. I forget what the numbers are, but they're all 140, 150. He had 190, Yeah, so he's gotten off in Detroit, but they've all been in losing efforts, and hopefully that's what we see this Sunday night. But you can't win a football team with just one receiver. He's gonna have some plays. He's gonna get his. That's without a doubt. We need to hold everybody else in check. We got to compete with Jordan Addison. We got to compete with TJ Hawkinson. We got to hold Aaron Jones in checks. That's what really needs to happen. So I'm not gonna sit in here. Vikings fans have said, "Hey, Justin Jefferson, how you gonna stop him or whatever." I do have some ideas, and we'll probably get to them when we talk about the back end of this thing. This keys to victory, but.
Cam Robinson, that's their left tackle. It just popped in my head.
Yeah, but you're not just going to shut him down, man. You're not going to shut Justin Jefferson down. But getting away from that and going to the defense, man. Defensively, Minnesota Vikings coming to town with Coach Flores. What are we going to have to do offensively, Steve, to be successful against Coach Flores?
So what the Vikings do is, I don't know what it's technically called, but they walk a lot of guys up to the line of scrimmage. All right. When you're up against the play clock and you're Jared Goff and you have to identify who's responsible for each receiver, you can do that with some motion or your formation and to say, hey, this guy's dropping here, this guy's covering who. It sounds easy. It always sounds easy when we're talking about it. But if Jared Goff can do that, if he can identify who's responsible for either what zone or what man, that's how you do it. All right. And when you blitz a lot like Brian Flores does, what do you do? Well, you're a defensive guy. You're leaving a lot of space uncovered potentially. So if we can find those holes and we have routes going to where that open space is, it's going to be easy pickings. Again, easy to say, harder to do. You're up against the clock. Everything's happening fast. People are moving. The defense doesn't have to stay still. It can confuse Jared Goff, but he's a veteran quarterback. He's been to a Super Bowl. I don't think there's many formations that can be thrown at him that he hasn't seen before. All right. He's seen the Vikings team. We play them twice a year. Brian Flores has been their defensive coordinator for at least the last 2 seasons. I can't remember when he got hired. So he's at least somewhat familiar. I'm sure that Ben Johnson and JG have been in the film room all week, watching film, dissecting. We had some big plays against them when we played in October. Like, it's not impossible. Their defense is great. It's one of the top 5 in the league, but our offense is pretty damn good too, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be the key matchup for me is Ben Johnson and Jared Goff against Brian Flores' formations.
Yeah, I think one thing that's underrated is how much we shift from motion to actual shifts to the tackle and the swing tackle or tight end shifting to the opposite line of scrimmage. They do walk up, they do blitz, they do try to confuse you at the line of scrimmage. But the bottom line is you have to match numbers with numbers, right? You have to match the number of blockers with if you're the defense with the same number of defenders to be in the box to defend that. So if we shift to an opposite side, you got everybody bumped up. You guys are going to either have to slide, or those guys that are bluffing are going to have to shift to the opposite side to match where that tight end and that swing tackle just went. So I seen a little bit of that last game to just identify who's doing what. I think we're going to see more of that, but it's a chess match, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Flores comes in and changes everything. Maybe he doesn't bluff blitz this game. Maybe he doesn't blitz as much. He's going to make some adjustments, man, just like we will, and that's what will be interesting. I'm not as excited about the first half as I am about the second half because guys are going to come in with everything that they've put together from the last 5 games that we've played and the last time we played them, and they're going to come into what they think that and react to what they think that we're going to do and what we think that they're going to do. And then at halftime, we're going to see what the game plan was for both, and then we're going to see who can make the adjustments and really bring this thing home. So I'm expecting a tight football game in the first half, and then it's going to be about who can make the adjustments and pull away with that thing, man. Hopefully this is Detroit Lions. But again, much respect to the Minnesota Vikings. But it's going to be belt to ass. And with that belt to ass, Steve, with that belt to ass, and again, belt to ass doesn't necessarily mean we blew you out. It just means you got physically dominated. It just meant at the toughest moments, we outwilled you. We had more grit, more toughness, more determination. So, Steve, defensively, offensively, whichever one you want first, I'll go first on the opposite one. Who are you looking at as the player or the key person on whichever side of the football you choose and why for this game?
William, there's one guy in this game that I think can single-handedly win it. And I mean, if this guy dominates and he takes over and he's a presence and we're talking about him a lot and he's a force and he's just unable to be contained. Do you know who I'm talking about yet? Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith. I'm telling you right now, this is a Zadarius Smith game. All right. Not only is he our best pass rusher, okay, he's been quiet the last couple of weeks. He's been real quiet. I need to see a little more. I said something after the San Francisco game. I think he's due. And not only is he due, Will, he's got an incentive bonus that could be reached in week 18. If he gets 2 sacks, an extra $250,000. If he don't want that, he could donate it to Stephen Will. We'll take 125 each. We'll be living real nice for a little while. I need Zadarius Smith to just be an absolute nuisance for that Cam Robinson and Sam Darnold. All right. When Sam Darnold's under pressure, he's not good. And I'll say the same thing about Jared Goff. He's not, I think Jared Goff's a little bit better, but that is the key to the game for me. I love watching defensive line. I love watching pass rushers when we're on defense. I'm focused in on it. That's usually what I'm locked in and watching. I need to see Zadarius Smith absolutely take over at times. I don't think he's going to play 1 quarter through 4 and just be an absolute nuisance. But if he's on 3rd down, 3rd and 8, I need to see some plays being made. I need to see some quarterbacks running for their life or being on their ass. So that's my guy for defense. Will, who do you got on D?
I thought you were going with TKA5, man, just cheering for the team, but
punt return specialist.
Yeah, a little disappointed. But defensively, man, for me, I've been drooling about this. And I'm gonna lean into it a little bit and give away the sauce because oh no, I took it out of here. I still got your TKA5.
I'm just trying to run a professional podcast here, and
man, I thought I still had it in here, but I'll talk about it. Last season, there was a guy by the name of Amik Roberson playing for the Raiders, right? And he
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I do what I can. So he had a spirited competition against Justin Jefferson, where he gave him everything that he can handle. And in that game, Justin Jefferson, the game ended up being 3-0, but Justin Jefferson's stats were 2 receptions for 27 yards. Now, nothing has been put out yet to say, hey, is it going to be Terry and Arnold following Justin Jefferson? Is it going to be Amik Roberson? Is whoever is lined up on them just going to play? Are we going to shadow? What are we going to do? But I'm praying, I'm hoping, and I'm expecting Amik Roberson to be following Justin Jefferson everywhere that he's going. Now, do I expect Amik Roberson to strap him up, to put a seatbelt on him? No, I don't. Do I expect Justin Jefferson to make some plays? I do. But what Amik's going to do, he's going to compete, and he is just going to be a problem, right? Just an annoyance, just always there, just making everything tough, just being physical when you don't want to be physical. Like he is the guy that I want just going everywhere Justin Jefferson is going. Deal with blocking him on run plays. Deal with trying to run him off when you're not getting the ball. I want to meet Roberson following Justin Jefferson everywhere that he goes. Probably won't have an interception, but if he just holds Justin Jefferson to normal human football game, then I think that we got a really good chance to be successful. So my key is going to be not found in a stat sheet other than, hey, maybe we finish this game with Justin Jefferson having 5-6 receptions, 60 yards, instead of that crazy, 10 receptions, 12 receptions, 190 and 2 tutties. So Amik Roberson defensively is my selection for player of the game.
I got to give you some credit, Will.
Talk to me.
When we first signed Amik, you were the one who put it out there that, hey, this guy played Justin Jefferson. He played him well. We showed the clips, showed the highlights. I think you're right. You can't stop Justin Jefferson. We're not saying he's going to go 0 catches, 0 yards, 1 rush, -2, anything like that. But if we can hold him to 5 for 60, even 1 touchdown, I like that stat line. Like you said, if he's going off for double-digit catches, close to 200 yards, it's probably no bueno for the Detroit Lions. And again, you know what's going to cover that up? Zadarius Smith getting pressure on him. I'm telling you right now. You've said it. I've said it. I'll live and die on this island. Pressure on a quarterback. It doesn't matter who you got back there in your secondary. You could have Charles Woodson. You could have Deion Sanders, Ronnie Lott, the best secondary in the NFL you could ever put together. If a quarterback has 8 to 10 seconds to sit there, chances are he's probably going to make a good decision with the football. All right. If you're putting pressure on him and he's only got about 1 to 2 seconds to make a decision, his life's going to be a living hell. So defensive line, find a way. Just find a way this week. All right. It doesn't have to be pretty. If it's Muhammad, I don't care who it is, William. If it's you, if it's Mrs. Ford, my wife downstairs, someone in that stadium has to get pressure on Sam Darnold and make his life a living hell. But I like what you're saying about Amik. We've talked about it before, back to when we signed him. Got to give you credit for that one. This is just going to be a chess match, man, and I can't wait.
Yeah, this is where I was going, Steve. So Ryan Clark tweeted this out, man, that, these guys go back to high school, right? Amik has competed with Jamar Jefferson, man, or Jamar Chase. This guy is not shying away from anybody in this NFL, man. So I'm really hoping and praying that he gets an opportunity to compete with these guys on Sunday. But moving to that offense, Steve, I'm gonna be true to my word. I said that I would go first if you went first. So offensively, for me, it's got to be Jahmyr Gibbs, man. Jahmyr Gibbs, prime time. I made a statement.
This time in a row, you picked Jahmyr Gibbs.
Man, I made a bold statement, man. Podcast after the last game, and I said Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in the NFL, and I think this is a prime opportunity for him to show the world, man. Prime time, everybody's watching. There's no other game to watch, right? It's and then if you've seen the stats from the San Francisco 49ers game, some people were saying a meaningless game, right? We had the best ratings of the season for that 49ers game. So imagine what the ratings are going to be for the Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings with all of these stars on both of these football teams, a game that decides everything, man, all the pressure in the world. I think the bright lights are going to be everywhere, and it's an opportunity for Jahmyr Gibbs to really show the world that he's the best running back. We got a phenomenal offensive line. He is electric every time that he talks to football. You guys heard everything that I got to say and feel about Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he goes for 100 plus, and I think he just goes crazy, man. Has a few receptions again. So if we're picking stat lines, I'm going to say probably 120 rushing, 40 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, and we ride off into the sunset with a lot more playoff games to watch at Ford Field. Steve, who you going with offensively?
Just a no-brainer for me, William. It's got to be Jared Goff. This is the biggest game in history. Who's the most important player on an offense? It's Jared Goff. I don't think I picked him to be my player of the game all year either, so I'm picking him in Week 18. All right, Brian Flores, hell of a coach. He's probably going to be a head coach in the NFL next year. Same thing could be said about Ben Johnson. That's the matchup. Who's quarterbacking that matchup? Jared Goff. All right. I think our offensive line is better than Minnesota's defensive line. I think our wide receivers are a problem for Minnesota's secondary. I know they got Harrison Smith and Bynum. They got some guys on their team. I think our running backs are better than their linebackers. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute problem. If Jared Goff is sitting there and he can identify who's blitzing, who's responsible for what before the snap and get us into the right play at the right time and has time to throw the football. So I think Jared Goff, I think we have weapons. Sam Laporta, I didn't even mention, like he's got the weapons. I think he throws. I don't see why he wouldn't throw for 300. All right. He's thrown for 300 like the last 5 weeks or something like that. Crazy. Looking at his stats, the last time we played Minnesota, what was he? He was 22 of 25 for 280, 2 touchdowns and a quarterback rating of 140. And going back to that Minnesota game back in October, we got off to a slow start. All right. They jumped out on us 10-0 and we were kind of chasing. And we kind of started playing much better football in the middle, second and third quarter, and even into the fourth quarter. And then David Montgomery, if you don't remember, had a fumble that was returned for a touchdown. So we got a slow start. We gave him 7 points on offense. Minnesota's pretty much bringing in the same Minnesota team. This Detroit Lions team's a little bit different, mostly on defense. We got some names, some guys that have been kind of shuffled in. So just going back to Jared Goff, man, I just don't see how, if he has time to make reads, you're going to stop him with Sam Laporta, St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe I don't know exactly what's going on with Khalif Raymond. If he's back yet, Himothy Patrick might be a guy to keep an eye on. Like, I think that the Vikings have a phenomenal defense. Trust me, I would take their defense over our defense right now, but I wouldn't take our coach over their coach. I wouldn't, William. They have a great defense. I would take their numbers and what they're doing. If you put this Lions offense and that Minnesota Vikings defense on the same team, we'd be 17-0 Super Bowl. Who's our matchup? What's the spread? Let me know how much I got to bet. But Jared Goff, big game, big moment. What better time?
I got to pump the brakes real quick. I got to say this. I love where their defense is at, but if our defense is healthy, I'm still taking our defense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm talking today.
Yeah, Aiden, you get Anthony out there, and don't mess around and let us get like Ennis Rakestraw and like it's just all of these reserves, like Lee McNeil, like it'll be, and then still have Zadarius. Man, this defense is going to be nasty next year. We're not going to get into next year. It just hit me in my soul. I had to. Yeah.
No, our week 1 defense, I'd love to have that, but that's just not the world we're living in right now.
Facts.
William, I just can't stress enough, like 2 14-win teams. You lose, you got to play a football game. I think in Tampa Bay, I think that's where the loser goes, to Tampa Bay. Then you probably have to go to Philly. Then you might have to come back to Detroit. Like it's a tough road if you lose. It's easier if you win. All right, you get a week off. You get 2 home playoff games. I saw something, I can't remember. I think it was Barstool Detroit tweeted it out that the Detroit Lions and Ford Field was voted a top 10 atmosphere for football games. I can't imagine what it's going to be Sunday. All right. You give us an NFC championship game here and just picturing and living in the future a little bit. We're raising a trophy to go to a Super Bowl. Like I'm getting chills. William. I just got to chill just thinking about it. Like Detroit Lions possibly going to the Super Bowl. The easiest way to do that is to win this game right here, William. So that being said, give me a score prediction.
Too easy, man. 31-28 Detroit Lions.
Almost the same score as last time.
Yeah, no brainer, man. 31-28, man. It's points are going to get scored, but we're going to get the stop that we need to at the time that we need to get it. I'm not going to sit up here and just be a fool and say that the defense is going to go out and shut them down and it's going to be a blowout. It's probably not what's going to happen. It's going to be a tight game, but we're going to make the right play at the right time. Like I said, the fans are going to affect the football game. All right, these guys aren't going to be able to hear. And then when Amik Roberson gets that pick on Justin Jefferson, right out of his hands, and then runs it back for 6, the place is going to go crazy. And then we're going to show out, Steve, afterwards. I don't know where we're going, but we're going somewhere because we ain't going straight home after that. I'll tell you that.
Might have to tell my wife she's got to work the next day. She might have to Uber home because the boys are going out.
Period. We got to drop her off, whatever we got to do.
William, I don't know. Sometimes I see the future. Sometimes I just get little glimpses. Like I told you the day after, I think it was like one of our first podcasts. I said, "Hey, I know first home playoff game is going to be Lions versus Rams." All right, facts. I told you exactly who we were going to draft in the draft this past year. I narrowed it down to like 3 people. Like I see things sometimes. All right. I'm seeing Ife Melifonwu again with a game-sealing interception against the Minnesota Vikings to seal it. Maybe he's running it back for 20 yards, and then there's just a victory slide. You're going to look up, and that scoreboard is going to read 38-30, Detroit Lions. The offense has to come out onto the field and take a knee because there's 3 seconds left in the game. That's what I predict. Ife Melifonwu with a game-sealing interception. The Vikings will have the ball with a chance to go down and tie and get if they get a 2-point conversion. And if he's going to seal this deal.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Guys, biggest game of our lives. All right. I know we had the playoff game against the Rams last year. I know we had a playoff game against the Buccaneers. The Detroit Lions have never clinched a number 1 seed. Also, become a member. All right. Just think about it. You get a little money back. It's worth it. To possibly win a $100 gift card, you're automatically entered into that jersey giveaway, a bobblehead, a Brian Branch giveaway. Automatically entered for a small fee. So think about it. Stick around. Hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.